Broadbent has provided our lunch today. For those of you who aren't familiar with them, I have left you a menu and just a type. They didn't have a brochure. They have a lot of little goodies they sell in their gift shop too. And this is the first you all have heard about this because I've not put it out yet. The Chamber, we're getting ready to do a Lake Barkley information guide in Chamber Directory. This guide, we're going to print 10,000 of them. They're going to be a 4-gloss on nice stock paper. We're going to distribute the 10,000 to all of our neighboring tourism offices. They'll also be in Paducah, Nashville, Evansville, and maybe even as far as Chicago. So this is going to be a great publication. It's going to be 60 pages, and we're very, very excited about that because as a chamber member, you will be listed in that. So it's going to give some more exposure except just right here. I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Brad before we get our lunches.
Okay.
This is Brad Harralson, and I'll let him tell you more about him when he starts.
All right, I don't want to keep them from their food, so I'll be real brief on the introduction. My name is Brad Harralson. I own and operate Encompass Wealth Management in Princeton, which is 15 miles down the road. I'm a partner with Fred Foltz, the Woodall Insurance Agency. You all are probably familiar with the Woodall Agency. We're in and out of Eddyville on a regular basis. But I really appreciate you letting us come down and speak today. It's not going to be a sales presentation. It's going to be hopefully educational and look for some input and some feedback from you all. But I appreciate Vanessa letting us come down and the support that she's given us in trying to be more involved in Lyon County. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. You all eat and enjoy yourselves, but we're not going to take too much of I'm not going to take too much of your time today. But like I mentioned earlier, this will not be a sales presentation. Hopefully it'll be something educational that you can take away from here, take it home with you. Something that you can apply to your own personal life or a co-worker and help you them. So we're going to talk about something called getting your financial house in order. Again, my name is Brad Harralson, and my office is in Princeton. You can look us up on the internet, Facebook, and different places as well. But, not going to go. This presentation I use in some larger scale stuff, and we talk about cell phones and bathrooms. It's not going to last 40 minutes, I can promise you that. I've streamlined this. It's going to be more in about the 20-minute range. So, anyway, we'll go ahead and get started. So, when you think about your financial house, the first thing that comes to my mind is how many years is it taking you to build your financial house? But the biggest thing that you should be thinking about is, what's the ultimate goal? Is your goal to retire and sit on your front porch with your spouse and watch the sunset every day? Is it to travel? Is it to enjoy the lake? Whatever it may be. Maybe it's to have a second home. But what is that goal that you have in mind as you enter your retirement years? So for many people, they're thinking about stuff just like I mentioned. Enjoying time with their spouse, their family. This guy here, he's jumped out of an airplane during his retirement. I mean, that's a bucket list moment. But what do you want your retirement to be like? And that's the stuff that you need to start thinking about. Hopefully many of you already have started. In my line of work, we deal with the main concept of money and finances. As a banker, that's what you deal with as well. But there's a lot more that goes into this. Money and finances, we talk about the health and well-being of our lifestyle and how all of these things impact what we call our financial house. Our philosophy, or my philosophy in my business, it's not just about the money, it's about your life. Enjoying it, having the means to enjoy it. That also includes your health. We have to be a healthy individual in order to enjoy our lifestyle. But money does not buy happiness, but it buys us opportunities. Okay, I think everybody would agree upon that. So let's get started. What is your financial house? Inside your financial house, it's a lifetime of working savings. It includes things like your home, of course, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, your 401k. The list goes on and on. This is your net worth. If you listed everything that you have as an individual, that is what would simply be called your financial house. So what are we going to learn about today? One of the key things we're going to talk about is information that you might not be aware of. Because in our line of work, what you don't know because you don't know what you don't know. Everybody in here seen this label, okay? We've seen this logo, we see it going down the street all the time. But has anybody ever noticed that that arrow was in the middle of it? We see it every day and it's right in front of us. But unless you've taken a marketing class or you've been in sales, you're probably not aware that that's there. Until someone like me pointed it out to you. And that's the way our finances work. Little simple things that we can do to improve our well-being along the way. So those are some things that we're going to look at. Just some quick facts. 65% of investors believe that they are not meeting their investment goals. I'm going to say the percentage is probably higher in today's time. This is an outdated statistic. 61% of investors worry about their money. I'm going to say it's more like 80 to 90. 78% of investors in America believe that financial advisors are out for their own interests and not theirs. Is that a hurdle for you when you're talking with people? It is for me. I mean, that's the thing that's destroyed our business, is that people don't have trust in the person they're dealing with, because somebody came into our business, lasted 3 to 6 months, took their money, and now they're doing something different. And that's what destroys this line of work. I've been in this for 16 years. It's all I've ever done. It's all I hope I ever do. Okay? You need to partner with people that have been in this for their career. 68% of investors in America tell us that they are procrastinators. What I mean by that, it's not a procrastinator on whether or not you're going to go to the grocery store or you're going to a movie. It's a procrastinator on making a financial decision. Maybe it's buying a car, buying a home, starting a college fund for your kids or grandkids. Things like that. They talk about it, they think about it, they weigh the pros and cons, but they never pull the trigger. We all do that on things, I think, right? So the real question that we deal with, everybody's on a road or a path to their retirement, okay? What we're trying to understand is that, will that road take you where you want it to go? So every road's going to be a different path. We're all getting there a different way. Is it going to be curvy? We all know there's going to be bumps along the way, okay? So what can we do to eliminate some of those things? So there's 5 key dangers to this financial house that we're talking about. Keep in mind that financial house is just your net worth, all of your assets. Number 1, misinformation. Taxes. We all pay taxes. Nobody likes to pay taxes. Danger number 3, outliving our income and current inflation rates. Outliving income, we're going to get into every one of these in a little more detail. Outliving income is a common topic that I hear from retirees or people that are considering retirement. What would you all think would be the second thing that people are discussing when they're thinking about retirement? Anybody got any guesses? What's the one other thing that keeps somebody from retiring? Obviously not having money would be one thing, but other than the income, what's the major obstacle to retirement?
Insurance.
Exactly. Healthcare. Okay? Market and interest rate risk is danger number 4. And danger number 5, long-term care and nursing care costs. Okay? Also healthcare expenses. All right? Those are the major things, the conversations that I have with people. Outliving my income, because we're living longer than we were before, and not having adequate health care, or the means to provide adequate health care. So get into these in a little more detail. Danger number 1, misinformation. This does involve some feedback from you guys. And if you don't answer, I will call on somebody, and nobody wants to be that person. 60.4% of people make financial decisions based on what they read in newspapers and magazines. Anybody got a guess on that, whether that's true or false?
True.
Exactly right. The number 1 reason for financial disaster in retirement is losses in the stock market.
False.
Man, you guys have heard this before? One of the top reasons people make poor financial decisions is procrastination. We talked about that already. Okay? So everybody has a different opinion when it comes to the financial market. All right? We can all go see a money manager. You know, you can drive to New York City and get on Wall Street and meet with a money manager. Everybody does that, right? A CPA. Many people do that. Stockbroker. They can go to Google. They can do it. They listen to the TV. They listen to the radio. They talk to their friends and their family. How many people sit around the work table Nobody here probably works in a factory. But this is something I hear from people that work. I'm going to use Calvert City as an example. I got a client that works there that calls me on a regular basis. He works at one of the plants in Calvert City. And I can always tell when somebody's 401k has outperformed his. They're sitting around the break room, and all of a sudden, John Doe, that has made 16% that quarter, is now the financial expert in this guy's life. Now keep in mind, I've been dealing with this guy for 15 years. Okay? We've got a really good relationship established. But all of a sudden, John Doe, that he works next to, is now the expert. That's what I'm talking about when I say friends and family. The same thing happens at the dinner table when you're sitting with your in-laws, your cousins, or whoever it may be. All right? Insurance agents. I mean, we get advice from all types of different people. Newsletters, magazines, could be newspapers as well. So all of this leads to certain things. We got lots of choices, a whole lot of information, a lot of opinions, which we've already discussed that. And all these things promise different things, but it all leads to one thing, and that's lots of uncertainty. Okay? And what that all leads to is procrastination, which leads us not to make a decision on something. Because we're getting bombarded from so many different places. Many people go to the internet for financial advice. Okay, if you search for financial information on Google, just some quick numbers here. If you typed in the word investing in 0.22 seconds, assuming you've got a decent internet connection, almost 74 million hits are going to come up on investing. Okay? Retirement, 0.38 seconds, 90 million results. Stocks, 94 million. All of these things are instantaneous. That's how fast our world's moving right now. Taxes, 162 million hits in less than a half second. Okay? Who's to say that all that's good information? Who's to say it's bad information? Because some of it is, but it's too much for us to process. So that's one of the things you need to think about. Where are you getting your information? Make sure it's reliable. Make sure it's something that you understand and something you comprehend and that you can apply in your daily life. Danger number 2 to our financial house, taxes. Everybody pays taxes. Everybody probably has this feeling that we're being taxed more and more on everything we do. Capital, and some of these are highlighted. Capital gains tax, federal income tax, gasoline tax, income tax, sales taxes, Social Security tax, state income taxes, utility taxes, vehicle taxes. Lots of different things that we have to pay into that's just eroding our dollar, keeping it from going in our pocket every month. Myth or fact? The U.S. national debt, and this is an old stat as well, as of January 2011 was over $14 trillion. I think everybody knows that's probably true. It's actually over $16 trillion now. Okay? It's increasing at a clip of over $4 billion per day. Okay? They have since changed that number in recent weeks to where it's a little under $4 billion per day. But what's the difference? I mean, it's still skyrocketing. You break that down, that's over 14,027 billion. Actually, in today's numbers, would be over 16,000 billion. And it's rising at over $4 billion per day. Staggering numbers. Everybody knows that. It's what we just went through in the last month with the fiscal cliff. So I kind of throw this in there, and it kind of comes out of nowhere. What about Social Security? How does that deal with taxes? And I'm going to tie all that back into it in just a minute. First of all, I kind of want to tell you what Social Security was designed for. And this is written by the U.S. Social Security Administration. It's on the statement that they used to send out to you every year when you're nearing your birthday, but now you can't get it because they don't want to spend the money to print it and mail it. Everybody remember getting those a few years ago? And they stopped. Now you got to go online to get those benefits or get the estimates. Social Security is the largest source of income for most elderly Americans today. But Social Security was never intended to be your only source of income when you retire. Now, how many in this room know somebody, maybe it's your family member, maybe it's a parent or a grandparent, that is relying 100% on Social Security for their retirement income? It was designed to be a supplement, okay? So the reason I bring this up is because this is something that's probably going to be going away, obviously, for a younger generation. And it could impact the people that are currently receiving benefits. You know, time will tell what's going to happen. But this is the main driver of what we're seeing back here. With this $16 billion or $16 trillion debt, Social Security is one of the things that's impacting that. Okay, so that's the reason I throw that in. Obviously, with Social Security, we want to plan to use some other means for our retirement income. So, with that in mind, that Social Security is having problems, our Medicare program's having problems, Medicaid's having problems, all of these so-called entitlement programs that we all want a piece of when it's our giving time, they're all having problems. What do you think taxes are going to do? Okay, do you think they're going to go up or down? Well, they're probably going to go up. I think we all know that, all right? So with that in mind, we got to look at proper tax planning. I'm not a CPA. I don't pretend to be a CPA. Common sense things that you might want to apply to the way that you're handling your finances. We're going to work from left to right on this. And the far left are the least tax efficient investment vehicles that you can have. Okay? When I say least tax efficient, I don't even know if that's proper English or not, but least tax efficient. They're taxed on the growth, which is your interest. You're taxed on your withdrawal, and they're also estate taxable. Excuse me. It includes things like savings accounts, checking accounts, CDs, mutual funds, bonds, just your common investments. Working from left to right, something to give us a little bit of a tax advantage, they're tax-deferred growth. And simply put, that means postponing your taxes. It includes things like your 401k, your traditional IRA, okay? We're deferring those taxes to a later date. It also includes a fixed annuity product where you're not paying taxes on the interest you're earning now, but you're paying it later. Okay? Does everybody kind of understand what that is? The next stage of tax planning would be tax-deferred growth, but tax-free withdrawals. Because if we go back to your 401k plan or your IRA that you've got, it's growing tax-deferred, but when you get ready to, you're going to deferred growth. Clients now for advice 401k plan, and they were maybe putting 10 to 12% of their paycheck in their 401k plan, and they're only receiving a 3 to 4% match, okay, on their contributions. A lot of people now are scaling this back to where in the 401k side, they're only doing 3 to 4%, so that way they're taking advantage of the match that the employer's offering, and any excess money they're doing, they're putting into a Roth IRA, okay? They're losing the tax advantage today, but if I'm sitting with a 40-year-old and they put away a couple $100,000 between now and the time they're 60 years old, and that money grows to maybe $300 or so, and it's tax-free, most people are going to be pretty happy. Because we've already said earlier that we think taxes will probably be higher later on than they are today. So tax advantages at a later date probably could be more important than they are right now. And then on the far right side, we've got something that has tax-deferred growth, tax-free withdrawals, and estate tax-free potential as well. And that's through a life insurance program. Okay? All right. Like I said, we're not in a sales situation. I just wanted to go over the different stages of tax planning and how it applies to each potential account or product that you could look at. So the more you move to the right side of this, the better tax efficient you're going to be. Because we don't have any control right now over what our interest rates are, right? Or what our growth is, and everybody's concerned about it. So if we can save money on taxes, then that's money that we're ahead, or potentially could be. Just to kind of look back at that IRA planning that I talked about where people are, and you could use, this could be changed to 401k taxation overview. Same situation. They're tax friendly now, but not tax friendly later. When you get ready to withdraw the money from these accounts, you're taxed on what's called a required minimum distribution. That's what RMD stands for. Does anybody here know what an RMD is? That's when the government requires you to take out a certain amount of money from your retirement account. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. When you reach the age of 70 years and 6 months during that calendar year, you are required by the IRS to start taking money out of your retirement plan, even if you don't want it. Okay? What that causes you to do is pay taxes when you make those withdrawals. All right? So we're taxed on the RMDs, we're taxed on money that's reinvested. It's taxed, potentially taxed to our heirs, and also could have some estate tax implications as well. So what we think is tax efficient now might not be later on. Enough about taxes because they scare me. I don't like them. I don't think anybody else does either. Danger number 3, inflation and income. This is kind of fun. It's scary, but it's fun. Average price of a new vehicle in America right now is $23,051. 30 years ago, it was $7,500. 30 years from now, $61,000 average price for a new vehicle. Movie ticket, $8.82. $3.31 a little over 30 years ago. 30 years from today, we're looking at a $23 price tag for a movie ticket. Now, this stuff scares you, right? We hear everybody talk about going to the movie, or excuse me, going to the picture show for a nickel, buying a lemonade and a candy bar, and everybody gets in for 30 cents total, right? Those days are long gone. Doctor's visits. Average price for a doctor's visit today in America is $89. 30 years ago, it was a little over $15. 30 years from now, we're looking at over a $200 bill just to see a doctor. Okay? Now, I want to point something out. We're using a 3.3% average. I think doctor's visits are going up at 3.3%. I would say you're probably looking at, double-digit increases on those. Okay? Fun one here. Women's haircuts. $31.95 for an average price. 30 years ago, it cost a little under $7. 30 years from today, almost $85 for a lady to get her haircut. Everybody needs to buy a Flowbee, right? So, all that's fun and games, but it's scary. It's an eye-opener. Let's just take a $50,000 income in today's dollars to buy the same goods and services that you're buying today. 5 years from now, you're going to have almost $59,000 to buy those same items, do those same things, travel to those same places. 10 years from today, you're going to need almost $70,000 to do those exact same things. Your income has to keep up with these things, all right? Your income in retirement has to keep up with it as well, not just your working years. So, I'm going to introduce you to somebody. This is the Noss family, okay? First person we're going to meet is Sarah Noss. She's 118 years old. This is her daughter, Kitty. She's 95. Her grandson, Bob, 73. Great-granddaughter's 49. Got a great-great-granddaughter that's 27. And this little angel over here, Bradley Patton, age 3. A lot of stories in that picture. It's a big legacy, right? Woman's seen a lot of things happen in America. But what's the problem with living to age 118? Your friends. But you got to plan your finances to age 118. Right? Nobody plans for that. Okay? She probably broke the bank on the Social Security Administration, right? That's what happens. But we are living longer. Do I expect us to live to 118? Probably not. We don't plan for that. But we need to plan beyond the ages of 75 and 80, just for those what-if situations. Danger number 4, market risk. These are the things that are out of our control. We have no control over what's happening on Wall Street, what's happening in our banks with our interest rates, what's happening with the Federal Reserve. They're out of our control, but we need to be aware of those situations, okay? And we need to make educated decisions on things. So, what stage of life are you in depends on how your money should be invested. Should it be in a preservation mode or should it be in a growth mode? I'm currently in a growth mode. I'm still putting money into my house, okay? I'm still trying to put money in the bank, trying to put money back for college funds, trying to save for retirement. Some of you, or maybe your parents, are in the preservation or distribution stage, okay? Which means that it's time for you to start taking money out. You've turned on a faucet and it's either starting to drip or it's running, okay? Unfortunately, it's not like our water supply. It is. It's what you put into it. It's what's going to allow you to take something out of it later. So what stage of life are you in? That's a question you need to ask yourself. So going to market risk, this is just something that people don't understand a lot of times that I'm talking with. If they lost 20% of their account value in 1 year, what's it going to take them to get back to their original investment account or investment value? They got to gain 25%. A 20% gain doesn't make up for a 20% loss. We've all seen those things happen recently. A 40% loss takes over a 66% gain just to get back to break even. 50% gain or 50% loss needs 100% gain just to get back to where we started. What we've got to think about, can we absorb these types of things? And what stage of life are you in that allows you to absorb those types of losses? Because this can happen in 1 year. This normally takes more than 1 year to happen, right? We always go down faster than we come up, on average. So preservation or growth. We break our investments into what we call green money and red money. Green money being our safe money, okay? Red money being risky, okay? Use a real common analogy. I think I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. We use something called age, and if you're a 40-year-old person, I subtract 40 from 100, and that tells me that 60% of your money should be at risk, okay, or in more of a growth mode. 40% of your assets should be conservative. Bank investments, insurance investments, bonds, things like that. So you'll notice we're using that green and red on here as well. Starting on the far left, being the very most conservative money market or checking account. Going to the far right, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and derivatives. Okay, you could throw commodities in there as well. Then we got some things in the middle. Okay. All of these products on here, or these types of investments, have pros and cons. None of them are perfect for everybody. None of them are wrong for everybody. Okay? A money market might work for you, but won't work for me. The stocks and bonds could work for me, but wouldn't work for you. Okay? The mindset that I think we need to get is not picking a product, okay, but going back to the thing we looked at from the very beginning, picking a goal of what we've got in mind, okay, of where we want to be, and then working with somebody to help figure out and design a strategy of how these things need to blend into that goal. All right? Obviously, lower risk and higher risk. And our last danger, and something that can completely erode all the hard work that somebody has put in to building their financial house, would be long-term health care. And Casey, I mean, you correct, I'm sure some of these numbers aren't going to be exactly right. They're general, okay? She studies this on a daily basis. The chance of having a fire in your home is 1 in 1,200, okay? Fred probably doesn't like to see this because we're selling homeowners insurance, but it's a risk, but we're required to have homeowners insurance. If you have a mortgage on your home, the bank's going to require it. The chance of having a serious car accident is 1 in 240. The chance of needing major medical health care is 1 in 15. Okay? We all buy these types of insurance to protect these events. Okay? And I think everybody would agree that we need to have those three things covered. One of them being legally required with car insurance, and a home being required if you have a loan. But your chances of needing long-term care, now this includes nursing home, assisted living, home health care. Okay? And this is based upon couples that are over the age of 65 living inside the United States. 1 out of 2 individuals. 7 out of 10 couples are going to require some type of extended care. Okay? Staggering effects on what it can do to somebody's assets. Average cost per day, and this is where Casey might want to give some different information, but this is a national average. $206 per day, a little over $6,000 a month, roughly $75,000 per year. If somebody walked in to pay for it out of pocket. Average stay, 3.5 years in a nursing home, total cost almost $260,000. Is that, I mean,
Yeah.
pretty close? Okay? And I know here in rural West Kentucky, things are a little bit different. These are national numbers. That can make a major impact on what somebody's done. So what's the solution to all of this? Okay, we've talked about 5 key dangers. All right? Well, the thing that I talk about it, because I think that's one of the things that causes a lot of these problems. It's lack of communication in the home. Okay? So consider that. Talk to your spouse about your current financial situation. After you've done that, you analyze things internally, partner with somebody. Okay? Get some outside input on what you're doing. Because what you're trying to do, obviously, is build a shield to protect you against these 5 things. I see number 4 and number 5 being the most dangerous things that could occur to your situation. That's the reason they're at the bottom. They can take away the foundation of your home. If you're not taking proper risk management with your money and protecting against potential long-term care expenses. And I know that a lot of us in the room are a long way from thinking about a nursing home, hopefully, right? But your parents and grandparents are. Okay? You need to have these conversations with those people sometimes as well. It's not an easy one to have. But I think those are 2 of the major things. And market and interest rate risk doesn't mean taking less money or taking less risk with your money. Sometimes it means increasing your risk, depending on what stage of life you're in. So out of all the 5, pay close attention to those 2. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Just like an iceberg, there's only 20% of it exposed. This is just about 20%. You're going to walk away from here with something that's important that you can use to apply to your life. But what I would encourage you to do, talk to somebody, okay? Get some advice, and work towards those goals that you talk about. Work with the other thing I would leave you with, find somebody that's going to give you fair and unbiased information. Because if you think back to one of those earlier slides, one of the major issues people have with misinformation, they didn't trust their advisor. Partner with somebody that provides unbiased information. Make sure that your agenda is what's number 1 and not their agenda. I want to thank you. I thank Vanessa for letting me come in today, and thank you all for attending. Is there any questions? I'm going to say, hopefully not. No, I'm just teasing. Any questions about anything? I've done a whole lot of talking. I can breathe. Anything?
Brad,
Yes, ma'am.
with my financial advisor that I had, we were always pretty aggressive. But it scares me to be as aggressive as I was because of the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
Is it still okay to be that aggressive?
Well, I think it goes back to when you're going to need your money. I mean, if you're going to need it 5 to 10 years from now, I think you need to be careful. If it's a 20-year goal, I think it pays to take some risk with your money. Potentially. I think it goes back, like I said earlier, don't pick the product or the investment. Go back to your goal of what you had in mind for that money. I'm sure it's retirement. Okay, that's what you're thinking about. All right? Depending on how many years you've got will dictate how the money should be invested. So I wouldn't let the fear overcome your goal.
So when you talk to your clients,
Mm-hmm.
how do you help them determine, or do you help them determine what they'll need based on what they want to do?
We go to that rule of 100 first, and that's kind of a baseline of a starting point of how somebody's money should be allocated. And I go through these steps. We go through these exact same things, especially if it's a new person I'm sitting down with, and try to educate them on the different dangers and if we're taking too much risk or not enough risk. But that rule of 100 really factors into what we're doing on a regular basis. But it's not set in stone. I mean, the client always makes the final decision on what we're doing, but it's just a starting point, and it gives me something to kind of gauge what I'm doing, measurement. We don't always make money. I mean, nobody does. If you all know somebody that always does, send them my way, because I wanna learn. Okay? Doesn't always work. But over time is what we're looking at. You know, what's the time frame we're dealing with? Any other questions? Y'all are easy. You participated and no questions. That's a presenter's dream, right? Thank you all again. I appreciate it.
Hope y'all enjoyed your lunch. Thank you for coming.